Now, at the end of the last video, I said we would be making a template. And some of you may be asking, what is a template? Well, when you open Digitize the Pro, I do apologize for that, it opens with it a default template. And that template contains all your parameters for your stitches. In this program, it's called Object Details. It's got various names, but what it means is parameters of a stitch, and the default settings are a wee bit tight. Wilcom is the author of the program, and they've used the same default settings that an industrial machine would use. Well, the domestic embroidery machine isn't an industrial machine. It doesn't have proper servo motors for hoop placement, and it doesn't have independent motors for the machine, the hoop, and this kind of thing. So your needle placement is never quite as accurate. Anyway, that's by the by. Over here where my cursor is sitting at the moment, I'm just going to select a tool. It doesn't really matter what tool, and we will look at these. Okay. Now, I've very quickly digitized a shape. If I click on it, and then I either right click into my object bar, and your object bar may be over here. And if you haven't got an object bar showing, you go and click this doofer down here. There you go. Object bar has disappeared. There it is. I work with mine constantly. I right click into that and I ask for object details. Or I use the bottom icon toolbar, and that's the object details icon, third icon from the left. And you'll get to know and love this toolbar a great deal. These are the settings that the default template uses. Pattern 1, and that's for your weave fill. I actually prefer pattern 2. You get a smoother look. Stitch spacing, that's your stitch density. That's how closely the lines of stitching that make this shape up lie together. If you look along the edges here, you'll see you've got a ridge, a little gap, and a ridge. That's your stitch spacing. I like mine at about 4.3. Sorry, 0.43. And you've got a stitch length of 4.2. Long stitches create distortion, but I like a stitch length of 4.2, even though I know it's going to cause distortion. So I always have to digitize to take that into account. Across the top, you've got all your tabs. Parallel fill, that's the angle with which the fill will actually build up. So that's your angle of stitching. Feathering, that's whether you want a rough outline like this or a smooth. Underlay, and this shows edge run and weave. Layer 1, that belongs to edge run because that will run first when you've got two choices, edge run plus weave. Layer 2 applies to the weave. Now if I change that and I just make it weave, all of a sudden I've no layer 2. And the reason I've no layer 2 is because there's no edge run. Okay, stretchiness. Now, this is your pull compensation, and it stretches your stitch by 0.2 of a millimeter beyond your trace line. Now your trace line is made up from the nodes that you click around your shape. Okay, now I'm not going to go any deeper into that at this point because I'll just end up confusing you. So I'm going to cancel that, and I'm going to delete this by using the delete button on my keyboard. Right, that's gone.